What's going on? Welcome back to Kicking It With. My name is Zac Holcomb. Today we are kicking it with Kevin Albritton. What's up, man?
What's up, man? Appreciate you having me.
Not too much. This is, I believe, episode 13, 013. That's good because we haven't recorded one in a week. I can't believe I remembered that. It's getting bad. I'm starting to get gray hair and stuff, so.
I feel that.
Yeah. How old are you?
33.
34. So
right
awesome.
on.
It's been very odd. We've had a lot of people like on, and then we're all like within a year or two of each other. Like Junius is 34. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Anyhow, little entry sidebar there. Well, anywho, man, I want to get up with you. I was away for the holidays a little bit. Went back to Columbus and spent some time there, and everything was fun. And I was watching all this cool stuff on the Facebooks about the ramps you got again.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Coming back up.
Yeah, trying to. It's one of those things. It's come up before, and then we had some momentum, and it kind of fell flat. And recently, just getting motivated again. We've got them in storage, and I'm just like, we got to do something with these things,
Yeah, for sure.
Travis got it with Travis yesterday, and of course, how he can get the fire lit even more. So he's made his post, man, and got a lot of traction. So try to keep that momentum and get something done with these things.
For sure. The timing of it was really nice. I know that I've heard about it a little bit since I've been here. I know you reached out to me when I was running for mayor and mentioned it again. We talked about it a little bit then, but it kind of went hand in hand with, we got a little bit of an issue with a little bit of like juveniles having a little bit too much time on their hands, and like what better for them to do than pick up a sport that teaches them that if they don't learn and dedicate time to it, they will fall and hurt themselves.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, so that is one of the big things. A small town like Kinston, we have a lot going on for us, but really the teenage group and then like even the early teens, like there's really nothing going on for them. They're kind of like graduated from rec sports. And then there's no mall, there's nothing, so it's either you go out here and cause trouble or you just sit at home. And BMX skateboarding is one of the best things you can do. You don't have to be a part of a team. You don't have to be with anybody. You can just do it by yourself. And it's really just, it's kind of more of like an art form, can be. And it's just like a really good, I rode here, I grew up in Kinston, and I just, I had ramps in my parents' backyard that I just kind of like built there, and they were really, really nice enough to keep them there. And, I rode by myself, and then there was a ton of people that would come. So it's just, I'm really passionate about it because I see this town and what we can offer it, like just with the facility or whatever, like just having the ramps. And we've got a, mega gift that we've received that we need to utilize.
For sure. So take me back. How do you get into BMX? Like what age?
So I got in about 9 is when I really got into it. Like started out, that was kind of the beginning of the X Games era. You've been around for a couple years. You have some movies out that do it. So I watch it. 9 years old. There's I got my older brother Matt. He rode. We all kind of started together with a group of neighborhood kids who we're all still friends with. And I rode for a few years with that group, just nothing serious. Like we just all had a good time. Like just like your average kids riding around their yard, like jumping ramps made out of bricks and wood,
Sure.
And then
hitting the construction sites.
Yeah, exactly. We may have taken a couple pallets from some of the like food line and stuff, but it was a good time. We had a good little group of guys, and we were just young kids, just kind of just goofing off, and just happened to be at the same time, Greenville, just right down the road, was basically becoming the mecca for BMX. So, you had a couple guys there. You had Dave Mira, who was very much a household name at that point from X Games, and then Ryan Nyquist. And then there was about 10, 12 other pros there, and it really became this like, it was always in the magazines. You can play Dave Mira on PlayStation, and you can play Greenville as a level. Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
It was just starting to get really big. And so just being a kid from this area, you're pretty much the local kid at the skate park over there. Things got a little bit more serious with it. So then, I rode for, I'm consider myself a lifetime bike rider, even if I don't ride every day or like every couple months or whatever. But got over there, man, and it, like, you start riding with some of the best guys in the world, like you're gonna get good.
Yeah, the water level is rising quickly.
Yeah, exactly,
sure.
exactly. So I rode every single day. Got in with the group over there, and it was cool because you go ride over there, you're riding with Mira, and even if it's just at the skate park, and then kind of got into his little group of being able to ride his private warehouse, and then Ryan built this place, the unit, which what it was called was his private warehouse.
Gotcha. And
they were using it to train for X Games is all it was, and got in that, man, and it brought me some cool places. Like I used to do NBA, NFL halftime shows.
Really?
BMX, yeah.
Nice.
Actually tore my ACL at the Cleveland Cavaliers halftime show. Kind of took me out a little bit, but it's just a little kid from Kinston is riding his bike around, and all of a sudden I get on this nationwide team, and I'm riding around, and
that's sweet.
It was pretty cool. It's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, who would have known too?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, and I mean, bring it fast forward it a few years from now, where we are now. BMX is a legitimate sport, and so is skateboarding is in the Olympics. So this past Olympics was our first time it was in the Olympics. And so Ryan, who's the one that donated all these ramps, he is the Olympic coach for the United States. So he's down in Wilmington. So there's a lot of opportunity we could do if we built this park, a lot of Olympic opportunities. They have basically just a point system with Olympics. You have to, they have to have these contests. So we could be putting on a lot of these contests at this facility. So
right on. Well, that brings right back to the tourism and bringing people to town for stuff that aren't usually coming here, which I know sometimes people have a hard time fathoming how that works. But if you're in a lot of times the argument that we hear is, well, if you bring that to town, but a lot of people in town aren't really that crazy about it right now off the jump, how does it really benefit the people of the town? It benefits them because people come from other areas, especially because we need the tax revenue.
Exactly.
And the economy. And people come up. So
well, even another thing, you've got these big companies that are moving or are set up in Kinston, Spirit Air, and some of these other, Sanderson. They're there's a lot of people that come to work at those places that live in Greenville and New Bern and all that stuff. And it's if you're got a family, young kids, you start looking around, what is there to do for these kids? And it really, you're talking about somebody that could buy a house and be spending their money here and be a part of this community that are maybe going to Greenville because there's something else to do with their kids or the schools or whatever. And we got to start looking, at things like that to really help Kinston grow and keep these people in or bring them. And then at the same time, keeps the kids here after they graduate high school. They may want to come back, and it's if you don't have much to offer, the kids are going to leave, the family's going to leave, they may go somewhere else, whatever. And it's just this is an awesome place, and little things like a skate park and rec department things like that really help, maybe make somebody's decision.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helps with people, and that's something we were talking about, the Grange was doing the other day. We were talking about on a show. It's you're getting some good movement. There's a good amount of Fly Exclusives, another one. They're pumping just tons of people are coming in for that, and you don't just pick up your things and move to a new area because you're making less money than you were making. You're getting offered a substantial amount of cash to move your family to a place, and why not roll out the red carpet and be ready as possible to say, hey, look, we got this going on, we got this going on, we got this going on. Because there's plenty of competition, like he said. The competition is out there, and we all know about it.
Yeah.
And, having a new mall is not the answer to getting it all back because, the world is changing. I was just in Columbus. Malls are closing in Columbus, Ohio, too. It's the third fastest growing city in the country, and they're closing malls. Yeah. So it's not, oh, my God, we couldn't keep them all. No one's keeping them all.
Yeah, no one's keeping them all.
They're dying.
Retail's changed.
Yeah, but it brings back open those large spaces like we've got on Queen Street that were retail spaces that are just shells. The spot that I like the most for it, should we go ahead and jump into bringing it to town, right? Trying to bring the BMX park, because you've got the ramps, you've got them. You've got a situation that I'll let you explain to us on how you're trying to get them in here and then partner with the city a little bit, and then we can kind of put it all together is what I heard. But there's a spot over there where Brandon's putting House of Ink. You know where he's
I
putting
kind
it?
of know it. Yeah.
Right next door to it is like a large. It's like what his spot was maybe like a quarter of the total spot, but then the other 3/4 right next to it has 2-story ceilings.
Oh, really?
With not a lot of stuff inside it already.
We need, yeah, and I think
How much square footage do you need?
so. It's really universal, man. I mean,
Whatever you need.
you know, we can make as big as we want. You know, like as big as we get, we can build. You know, it'd be in a perfect world, we could have this just crazy massive place. I'm not unreasonable. We can build whatever, you know, whatever gets it in the door, like whatever makes it start. You know, if it is a few thousand square feet and we have a couple ramps and then it's just something that we can get started, or we can do something bigger. And it's just like, you know, it's one of those things, a skate park or any recreational activity, you know, everybody's been like, why don't you start it as a business? Well, it'd be about the same as me wanting to start Fairfield basketball court as a business and hope it works out. Like, I mean, yes, there's things I could do to do it. I think it's something that would be way more beneficial to work with the city. Just like, you know, you kind of got an example is the Woodman or the Kinston Community Center, the little water park they have out there. I mean, yeah, it probably brings some revenue in. There's probably some things. It's way more beneficial to be partnered with the city because it's just such a, you know, it's an undertaking. We really don't need that much money to build it. Like as far as we just need an old beat up spot and, you know, a ceiling is basically what we need and some, you know,
So for those keeping score at home that are probably asking, why don't you just set them outside? There's all sorts of skate parks that are outdoors, Kevin. Why don't you just take your BMX ramps and set them outside? For the people that genuinely just are ignorant to the situation, why would that not be an option?
These particular ramps were built for inside. They were built, I mean, if they're hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of ramps, but they're non-treated plywood because they were built to be inside. So if you take them and set them outside, they're gonna have a short life, you know. So the ramps themselves are about, you know, 17 years old and they look brand new. So
that's sweet.
It's just, we could build if we wanted to. We could, you know, it's just such an opportunity to have these ramps. If anything, we can make something work, even if it was outside. We do some kind of pole barn. We raise money for just to keep the elements off of it. You know, keep them from just getting soaking wet every day. You know, there's things we can do. We just need to. The interest is there. The support is there. The city support is becoming to be there. You know, Corey from the rec department is very much aware of it and has looked into things about trying to do a park. Seems to run into, you know, the two biggest hurdles are the insurance. You know, what's the cost of the insurance?
I was going to ask.
Being inside is a bigger deal, like than just having one outside. A lot of these cities put up these parks, but they're crap. You know, they're there, but no one wants to really ride them, and they still are busy. Like the one in Goldsboro is just like a little prefabricated park that came out of the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and it's not fun. It's built by people that don't ride, you know, so It's like, you know, you can build a park, of course, you can spend a ton of money on a park, but
there's a guy willing to bid that.
Yeah, exactly, but it's not, you know, it's not fun. We have the people and, you know, the contacts, and even like Travis Harper grew up skateboarding, and you know, Dill from the restaurant Two Skates. We have a lot of people, and they're very well intertwined.
Skates.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people around here, and the kids, you know, they have kids or whatever, that we could build a really world-class place, and that just, you know, because there's very many skate parks, but there's not very many good skate parks, right. And so like we could build a good skate park.
Yeah, so not only are you like providing something immediately for the kids here, but you're also like you're pulling, like you said, the upper level people that are already in the state, the eastern part of the state, that are doing their training. But then you're also probably going to steal a lot of people that are currently going to Goldsboro, Greenville, Snow Hill.
Yeah, and so like Snow Hill is another one. It's like they have the park, and it's awesome that the city did the park, and I think they spent a good amount of money on the park. It's very small. I mean, there's not that much to ride there. And Greenville's a tricky one because it's so big, and they have the park, but that was built like during the Dew Tour era, where like it's like X Games, and they're huge ramps. So like, you know, you have to build something that's good for beginners and kids. Right. Like it can't just be like for pros, you know, and that's not going to get you anywhere. So, you know,
is that kind of what you're thinking on this? You have a good spread of equipment. You spread it out. Have like a spot for like, you know, someone like me, someone like
somebody wants to. there's a whole bunch of, I don't know how many there still are, but there's girls that do the roller derby that were on Queen Street, and man, they were like killer behind the idea at first. You know, that's like something like for them or whatever. You know, from the pro to the, you know, you can have, you know, for me, like people think this is all for me, man. I've run my course with BMX. Like I'm a little bit older, and my body's pretty worn out, and this is for the kids and for, like, I'm trying to be the guy I needed when I was a kid. You know, like I've already run my course. Like this is not for me. Like you may see me out there with my son, but like this is not for like reliving some dream. You know, it's like I'm just trying to help.
You're not gonna like do this just so you can go to the X Games, right? Be like
right, yeah. My chance to the X Games
be like
is a little
42
gone.
in the X Games. Be like, I'm back, baby.
Yeah,
I got that ramp built.
Yeah, here I am.
Tricked the city.
Yeah, I tricked the city into building my own private place. Yeah,
like
no,
it's an opportunity to have a male figure in town just pretty much wanting to spread a little bit of positivity, and that's what we largely need here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you really get a kind of a mentor program almost, like if you wanted to call it that or not, like it happens anyway. Like, you know, when I was riding bikes really heavily, I was 15, 16, I was in a very, if I didn't have bikes, I was in a very like weird spot in life because like I really wouldn't have anything else. Like I wasn't that great in school. I was like talented at things, but I just needed some like direction, and I really wouldn't have had it. And that's a really scary place to be, you know, like, so I got on my bike, I met some really good guys, and they kind of helped me, like, they helped me get better at BMX. They helped me with life things. Like a lot of them, you know, ended up being lifelong friends.
Right.
And like, you know, a lot of that happens just sitting on the deck at the skate park, you know, meeting these guys. And, you know, I never drank or like smoked or anything in like high school. Like it was all about BMX. Like I didn't care. Like, you know, I may have like, you know, gone around and ridden my bike places I wasn't supposed to. I was just like going out to sport, you know, like may have ridden down a few handrails in town, but
right.
but I was doing good things, you know, like I had no aspirations to do anything bad. Like that's all I cared about. And, you know, there's a lot of good that can happen, you know, with it. And I think it gets a bad rep, like it's like a hoodlum sport, but really like a lot of these guys that skate and BMX, like they're good people, and all they care about is they're, you know, riding and progressing and all that stuff, and it teaches you something, you know.
Yeah, it's like everything else. Like you don't just get like really, really good at something by like screwing around and being a jackass all the time, and then you just like step onto a bike and you're like, look at me, I'm freaking going to the worlds.
Practicing every day, and you're seeing stuff. And then another thing I've got caught with around here is that it's racial, like it's more prevalently white. And I'm like, look, man, like these sports, like some of the best skaters and bike riders are African American, and it's something that you can do without having with limited resources, right? Like if, you know, like with me, like, you know, my parents they helped me get a bike, and that was all they had to do. And like there's no money being spent, and it's a camaraderie too. Like when it comes to BMX or skating, like there is no race. Like you're brothers in the sport. Like, so like it's almost like a military aspect, you know, like you riding and you're like, dude, it's just like, you like skating? Oh, I love skating. Like we're homies.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, common
forever.
vibe for sure. Well, and it's like, and you're also seeing the fact that like you're all bleeding red. Like,
exactly,
the
man.
blood is the same, bro.
Exactly. It's just you know, it's one of them things. There's a really good there's an old BMX pro named Steve Crandall, and I talked to Ryan about maybe partnering with him on it. He's got a nonprofit. He's up in Virginia. It's called Radshare. And I think he's in like Virginia Beach or somewhere like that. But he's got this whole thing. He's basically partnering with Vans and I think like ProTech helmets and these other companies to get like lower income kids bikes and skateboards and shoes and stuff, man. And he's got these little kids that were basically just like these kind of hood rat little kids just like running around, and they're all like so good at like riding out, and they've got this whole thing, and like some of them probably have, you know, pretty good careers ahead of them, and it's just the opportunity, you know. It's like, do we have a skateboard problem in Kinston where people are like riding and beating stuff up? No, and that's not why you build a skate park. Like it's literally, you build it for the kids so they have something to do and they can get better at something and learn something, learn some worth. Like,
yeah, you're learning. Well, yeah, it teaches like it teaches that you're trying to get your equipment right. So like you're always trying. You got how do you get equipment? Well, by working
Yeah,
hard and
exactly.
saving stuff, or like and then you take care of it because you put in the time to earn it, and then you're also you're like putting in work on yourself as a person, and then growing your skills. And
For
stuff
sure.
Too. So I mean,
Sure.
you're teaching lots of life lessons.
Definitely, man. Like I've been a professional, like a mechanic for the past, I do other things now, but like I had my own shop and all that. And my basic mechanicking skills came from BMX.
Yeah, working on a bike.
First day of
Problem
summer.
solving.
Yeah, first day of summer, blow up my wheels, like try to figure out how to relace a wheel,
Yeah.
And it just helps, or carpentry skills. Like I wouldn't say I'm the best carpenter still, like 'cause
Right,
but still, like I can build things, whatever, like it just, and it's all comes from supporting the sport, you want to build something, you do it, like, and I look at it back in the day, like when we were doing stuff, it's like, I was just like 15-year-old kid, man. We had all these crazy ramps and stuff, and it's like, why, like, and you look back and it's like this, it's just all about having fun. And like like to this day, my best friends are all dudes that rode BMX with me, like Tyler Stout here in town, and my buddy Robert Curtis and his little brother Blake. Man, we just rode for hours and hours and hours, and and we're all just like as good of friends still, like, and it's just such a good thing, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then you're building support systems too. You know what I mean? Like, there's days where like you're not feeling it, but Tyler's still vibing. So
Yeah.
like, boom, you guys pick each other up, and it keeps on rolling. And that's another thing. It's like kind of a lacking stuff around here. There's like, you need more ways for kids. So not everyone's gonna play basketball.
Yeah, and basketball and team sports are great, and that's all good and all that stuff. But there are those kids like me that didn't do, I grew up playing all the rec sports. My son plays the rec sports right now. Like I'm trying to get him out there and see, you should play baseball, you should play basketball, you should see if you like it. Yeah. But once, there are those individual like people that vibe well with individual sports,
Yeah,
so.
I was one of those too.
Yeah.
I hated like team sports were all right and all that, but like wrestling, man.
Yeah,
Me.
it's all about you. Like, there's something about winning, like as a team, and like being able to be coached and all that. Those are all some great life lessons,
Absolutely.
But a lot of times, like when you're a self learner, or you do want to do things on your own, like, that mentality is the same kind of mentality you have when you start a business. Like you're on your own, and you're just kind of sitting in it, and like you're just figuring things out for yourself. You're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah, you're taking risks,
Taking
calculating
risks.
risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is life, dude. Jesus.
Yeah, I know for sure. Like that is absolute life, but they're all good things. I don't think anybody, our post has been really positive, and a lot of people do it. So now it's like, let's, and I've been like kind of just feeling it out. Like I needed a support group, and I think like with like you and like Travis and Stacy Heath, super big fan, and like we have some really good fans, and like I need to we need to get a group together. I need to go talk to the rec department, or at least sit in on one of their meetings is kind of what I was told to do. And like we do need to partner up and see, like we can raise the money, we can build it, we can do whatever. If we need to have some volunteers, like we can get sponsors. Like
I mean, it sounds like it's already been sponsored in the sense of like the ramps and the equipment are here. But like you think I'm not putting anybody out there, but like you think for a second that those ramps are going to get set up and all that stuff, and then like no one's going to come by and sprinkle some goodness in the bucket. Like as soon as it's there, it's built. Now you're gonna have people that are gonna walk in and be like, "What is this?" Then you have the story of how you got it and you set it up in this town. And it's like boom, and then there's a whole nother wave of people that come in with support because it wasn't it was an idea now, and that's cool.
And here
then
it
you
is.
follow through and you put it into motion. Then you get a whole nother wave.
Yeah.
Who knows what
as you build it, they will come, and then it's just like the
true.
support system behind it. Like people love to be on the more in the back end of success.
Well, it's way safer to support when it's already
when
there.
it's there.
Well, after you've thrown open the grand opening sign, it's real easy to support. But people are like that, though.
They are,
Some
man, and
people like being like the early, and then some people are like,
That's
when it opens, I'm there for you.
exactly, and it's just cool, be a
great.
supporter at any point. Like that's awesome,
Whatever. Yeah, exactly.
It's
We all have roles.
Yeah, it's funny because like I had a skate, we had a skate park in my parents' backyard, and it's funny because this is the second time a big BMX pros like donated stuff. Mira was real cool to me and gave me a bunch of ramps. We had them in the backyard, and we moved them. And Bradley Taylor, he came out of the woodwork, like hadn't really been riding that much, helped me move all these ramps. A couple guys, friends from Morehead City, came down and helped me. And it's like I had like not that many guys helping me build these ramps, and then all of a sudden when they're built, it was just like this influx of everybody, and I'm like, all right. And then the guys that helped build them didn't even like ride them, So it's like that's just how it works. So, but But I think we can get serious about it and really, I mean, there's things we need to figure out. Like, yeah, an indoor spot is very expensive. Like, so, but there also is just a ton of empty buildings around here, and I see it. And there's old schools and buildings and things that are just chilling. Maybe we could get something, you know. I mean, it's just like anything kind of business. Like, if I build it, like, it may only last a couple years because I'm funding it personally, or I could partner with the city and maybe, you know, it lasts a long time, you know. Like, all we need is the building, and then we figure else everything else out or whatever, you know. Like, there's
it'd be interesting too. I think the city comes in big in a sense of like helping with the insurance, because like getting that, I mean, that's a big undertaking for sure.
It is, and you know,
that's where I go with it too. Obviously,
exactly.
like being in, my dad was an insurance agent, so like I'm kind of jaded by it, but like
yeah.
I mean, that's a great question.
It is, and there's been some scares. Like, there was down at the beach, some like 1-year-old kid got burned on the ramps down there, and they had a lawsuit. And he shouldn't have been on the ramps. He's 1 year old. He's crawling on these metal ramps. Mm-hmm. Well, they shouldn't have metal ramps because they do get hot outside.
Smart at the beach.
And there are some laws, you know, back I think like 2009 or so, the North Carolina made some laws to protect cities and things from being able to get sued, the liability from having a skate park.
I mean, it's very similar to playground equipment.
It is, man.
I mean, it's got to be it's got to be right in there in the same policy lane. We'll have to get an insurance guy on.
We do need that. We need to really talk about it and see.
I'll reach out to Heath and see.
Yeah.
I'm trying to you got to have liability insurance on the damn scooters.
Oh,
I mean, if they can do that.
Exactly. It's not much different, you know. I mean,
very similar. A playground, I mean, I think is the greatest example. I mean, you got all these huge playgrounds. They're built by some guy came into town in the middle of the night and threw them up because he got some bid and won the job.
And then they're there,
They come in, they put them in, they leave. They never come back to town and check on them. There's no, like, safety check-off. Where's the checklist for – I mean, maybe there is. If there is, Corey,
maybe so.
Corey, if you have, like, an intense check-down on the playground equipment, I digress.
I think they do.
I'm sure there's something.
Yeah, they do. We have I will give Corey and them credit. We do have a really good rec department that definitely, looks around. I think some of it's probably – reported by the parents too, you know, but like it is, it's one of those things.
I mean, we've seen those go up on like the Dragon Park or like whatever they have. I call it the Dragon Park, Pearson Park, the playground and all that. Yeah, Loch Newsy, baby. Loch Newsy. We were talking about that in a couple episodes ago.
Loch Newsy.
Yeah.
Like Loch Lusa, like the song. Have you ever heard that?
I haven't.
Oh, that's a good song. You should listen to it.
Oh, this was you probably can relate to me on this one. So, you good? Everything's rocking? Sweet. We were driving in, and we went and grabbed dinner real quick at Jerry's house, and we were coming back, and he's like, "What was the band that you asked me about?" No, we were listening to Cadillac 3, and he'd never heard of them before, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "Have you ever listened to or have you heard of like System of a Down or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever album that was, like with Chop Suey, like I got that like the day it came out," and he was like. Oh, well, geez. And I was like, I just dated myself because I'm probably like 12 years older than Jerry. And he was like, oh, you know, and I was like, yeah, I think it was in 6th grade. And I walked across, you know, to the Best Buy, and we had this kid in our grade that had been held back, and he was always in trouble for shit. And he had the hookup at Best Buy to get the parental advisory CDs. They would sell them to him, and then he'd mark them up like $1. He'd have to buy them like candy or something.
Oh, yeah.
But exactly. Yeah, that was back in my Tony Hawk days. You know, and when I was looking at skateboards, but I wasn't skateboarding. Because all the kids, I didn't have the balls to do it because I didn't want to get hurt. I was already wrestling, and I was like, I'm getting hurt enough. I was like, fall down and skin my knee. I'd do my stuff on a mat.
Well, the wrestling's rowdy too. I mean, that's dislocated joints all over the place. You know, but
I got lucky, man. No.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Or broken bones.
That's killer, yeah.
Probably a couple of concussions. That's probably why I'm a little slow.
Concussions are definitely, that's a hard one to prevent, you know, like, because it's not necessarily like actually hitting anything. It's the whiplash effect. You know, but.
As we're doing a little wrestling around here, and it's kind of like your thing. It's like, that was my jam that got me through stuff, was like, I went through a whole bunch of random stuff and my parents and everything, and like wrestling was where I went and like took it out on myself. Yeah, I would go down and run or lift and get all pissed off about something and just go kill myself, like try and hurt myself. And so wrestling was that thing for me, and that's what I'm kind of getting back into now. Like when I'm completely free of having things to do, I really just like going and just teaching wrestling, because there's the technical part of it, and there's the like getting a workout, and that's cool. You know, like
the mechanics of all your moves and stuff.
Yeah, teaching the technique, but then like teaching the mental aspect of it too is a big thing. Like I struggled mightily with that. I would like have the technique, but I would always get second place.
Yeah, I had an issue mentally with the filming stuff. Like I was a really consistent rider, and like I could do anything. And you bring out the camera, and I'd start like questioning myself, and it's like there's a really funny clip of me doing a flare, which is like quarter pipe, backflip 180. So you go up and you land back this way. And it was not my most consistent trick, but like I got where I was doing them really good and like doing them every time. And I did like 10 or 11 or something in a row. My buddy was like, hey man, he was like, we got to film one of these. And I was like, okay, all right, cool, let's do it, whatever. And he like set up, I filmed it, and freaking hit my back tire, went over the handlebars, like crashed real bad. And it was like, I'm pretty sure I never got one of those on camera, like actually film, like landing it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
is that so? That's why you want the park build, is so that you can
I can film my first flare.
If it happens, that's gonna be.
Oh no, yeah.
gonna come over.
I think I'm done with the flares.
Done with the flares?
I did do a flip not long ago. But
Really?
I was at we had the little rally in the alley event out there at the dugout, and I kind of got called out, which thankfully they had an airbag landing, so I wasn't as like concerned about it. But it was a totally cold turkey, and it wasn't bad. I think I surprised everybody with my body type. They're like, "Dude, you're not the same bike rider guy that you were." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a little
more momentum."
Yeah, I got a little bit more mass, man. But hey, whatever, it worked out for me. So.
Right on. Yeah, like they say, it's like riding a bike.
It's surprisingly like riding a bike. Yeah, it's.
That's what this wrestling coach in Ohio told my dad once. He's like, I was going back in at 26 or something and working out with him, and my dad because this dude was a coach when I was in school, and he was like, my dad called him, was like, he didn't tell me that he was doing it. He just called him up. He's like, hey, Chance, like, Zach's coming home and saying that he's putting it on a couple of your boys, but I just figured I'd call you. And he was like, he goes, yeah, it's like riding a bike. He came right back in. There was a day of like, he was a little fuzzy, and then, yeah, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it does.
It's muscle memory, man.
It is.
Especially when you're doing it when you're young. Like, you just.
Oh, yeah. When you're just doing it nonstop. It does come back. I mean, there's a lot of things, obviously, I would never try ever again, but.
Sure.
It is crazy, man. It is crazy what your body and your mind, like, it's more your mind, really,
Yeah. Oh, exactly. It's all that.
Yeah. That's what, like,
it's life again.
There's a lot of people that are really calculated, and like that's why I think it's a lot of aspects of my life where I'm like, you get that gut feeling. It's like, how do you do a 360 over a jump and land like with your back tire perfect, like every time? And it's like, you think there's all these like things that you like are figuring out, and there are, but it's all that gut feeling, man. And it's like, that's a feeling I'm glad I figured out, because I use it in life. And it's just like, it's just like you're making so many little small like calculations that you don't even realize. And it's like, BMX is just crazy, man. Like sometimes you really think about it, like, how the heck do you do this? Like, how does this happen? So,
Yep.
But that muscle memory, man, once you get it, it stays.
Yeah, practice is amazing, man. You practice something for a little bit, and then like it goes like to it again, man. You start practicing when you're young that you want to do something, and you practice practicing.
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
you practice learning, or you learn how to learn.
Yeah,
like it's kind of deep on. So some folks feel like it makes a lot of sense. Like once you've dedicated yourself and your time to something or a craft, and you put in the time and you watch the improvement, and you see the pay, like you go through the pay period, but you see the payback.
Yeah, exactly.
Like now you see like, oh my God, I can do that in this.
Yeah, and then you can use that for everything else. Yeah, like you get good at one thing, like you can get good at anything. Like you use the same, maybe one thing is more natural or whatever, or like you may have a little bit more luck or some more help, but it's still the same principles behind it. And it's like, getting good at one thing is like a life hack, like I feel for like so many people that just kind of exist and they don't have their thing, and it happens to a lot of people, and it's, it's hard to break out of that mold or whatever, but it's like, that's what I like to teach my son or my kids. And it's like, man, just, you got to get good at one thing and just apply that to everything.
Yeah. So. Yeah. You just continuing to learn stuff is awesome too. For sure. What we got? 34. Ready for another beer?
Yeah, I can.
All right. I like them so much better with the beers. It's just so much easier.
It's chill.
Yeah, it's just way nicer recording with beers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Plus, it opens us up to be sponsored by Mick Ultra.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sponsor?
Yeah, we need a beer sponsor for sure.
What are these guys?
Their logos up there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking for a sponsorship. Any alcohol, actually, should sponsor.
I know,
you know what I mean?
saying,
Get us
man.
some
These
serious
guys over here.
beers. That'd be perfect. Yeah.
Not get anything from
Yeah, don't tag them, but place across the street could probably hook us up with some beers.
Yeah, I see that would be the
funny.
place.
This we are sponsored by 2 companies right now. We're sponsored by Additive America and Big Bark Social. It's cheating, you know. We don't have any real paid sponsors, but they're the ones hooking it up right now with the equipment and the time and all that fun stuff. So we like to always try and tag them, you know, get those extra Facebook follows and good stuff.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
That's what it's all about. But yeah, we're definitely looking to be a sponsor. We need a beer sponsor. If you're out there and you want to be a big beer sponsor, I don't do liquor, but definitely looking for a beer sponsor. We could have a liquor sponsor too, though, for the guest.
I mean, yeah.
Why stop with beer? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's opportunities are endless.
Mm-hmm. Maybe like a pizza shop sponsorship.
There's another one that's really close by.
Yeah, we need
to think of.
Yeah, that could potentially be in the shot, you know, every time. Yeah. We got to get them with the lights.
They're in the shot.
We got to put a little lit up sign outside that window in the film. You know,
Yeah,
just make it look hot. That's too funny. So were you at did you hit up the little meeting in the park?
I did, yeah.
Awesome. I missed it up. We were stuck in traffic, but tell me about that. How'd that go?
So it was good, man. I mean, it was kind of like, you know, it was more so just a show out there. You know, we had you know, a couple downtown leaders. Like Chris Moore was down there, and then you know, Travis was down there, Stacy Heath, I think, and Corey from the rec department was there. Yeah. Chris Sugg, which I love, man. I feel like he's such a proactive kid for this town.
Yeah, he's been knocking out of the park. I really like I mean, I was definitely a critic early on.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching the stuff, the way he manages things, the sharing of information.
He's on it. I mean, he's the voice. Like there's not, you know, there's not a whole lot of leadership, and I think the biggest thing is you know, you can't just go to every ribbon cutting and think that that's doing your job. There's a lot of things that we need in this town, and we need to be the kind of what Stacy he's been saying. It's like we all need to be reading at least from the same, you know, like preaching from the same book at least. Like everybody's kind of doing their thing. There's a lot of people doing stuff, and I'm surprised yesterday talking about all the stuff available for kids in here, and like one of the things I thought was really cool is the Boys to Men.
The lawn
landscaping. That they take kids and basically teach them how to make their own business and all that.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Really good, and it's like we need to be promoting these things, and you know, we do have people out there promoting, and there is media and stuff going on, but it's like your average people, and these Facebook groups are good, you know, word of mouth, Kinston and stuff, you get a lot, but it's like we all need to come together, man. This is our town, and there's just so many negative people. And, you know, I grew up here. I'm from here. Like, you know, my family, you know, the Albrittons, Greene County, Kinston, you know, whatever. And, man, we've been here forever, you know, since America was a place. And it's like there's a lot of hate. And, like, I left this town. You know, I grew up here, went to high school, then moved off, went to Florida, went to Raleigh, and came back because I really loved it. Because I'd seen other places. Mm-hmm. And just the community, you can't find many places like that. Like, I mean, just where you have so many friends and family and deep roots, you know, that you can grow these deep roots really quick, you know, like, because I was a kid when I left, you know, like, so I'm like, come back as an adult and like had, you know, made all these, you know, adult relationships and friendships and be a part of the community. And one thing I hate more than anything is to get on the internet and read just negativity towards somebody doing something, you know, or like, because you're not from here or whatever. It's like, man, like, this dude's doing something. Either you speak up, you do your thing, or you shut up. And I'm tired of the negativity of it's like, oh, it's Kinston. There's just it's the hood. There's nothing good going on. There's shootings. Oh, of course there's shootings. Like, dude, there's shootings everywhere. Man. Like,
there's a shooting in Greenville. I mean, at a mall.
Greenville.
And all we want to do is talk about how we don't have one. Yeah, they had a shooting at the mall. And no one's even bitching about it. Like, no one's even like, don't go there.
Yeah, no, exactly, dude. It's the haters, and a lot of them are the haters. Like, dude, you can leave this town. Like, there's no invisible wall. Like, if you don't like it, leave or help.
Or you already freaking left.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what I'm tired of hearing. How dare you do anything? You're not from there. You can't have an opinion. Yeah. That's my hometown. Where do you live now?
Not from here.
Enter city name here. You're a jackass. Shut up. Like, I'm with you on that.
I get that you love this town, but if you're not from here, man, like
come to applaud or come to stack another mound on the sandcastle.
Yeah.
Don't come over here to kick sandcastles over because you're like,
Dude,
it's the
100%.
bitchiest thing. It drives
Well,
me
that's true.
nuts.
That's a lot of people don't like what's going on downtown. They're like, all these people are coming in. They're going to raise the revenue up. Like, dude, like, so you love seeing empty buildings like that aren't doing anything. Like, we're not gonna. There's nothing that's gonna just fundamentally change Kinston to kick you out of this town.
Nothing.
Maybe when maybe if some massive like businesses start picking up out at the airport and there's tons of stuff and there's like
Tons
an
of
influx,
opportunity.
Yeah, but having cool businesses and things to do in town is not hurting anybody. Us only helping. Like
That's the big argument I hear a lot of times is, well, there's vandalism because you're building up industry or you're building up places that the local people just can't afford to go and enjoy. And so the default reaction is they're just going to tear those places up. You're a freaking idiot. That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Because the problem there is it's so poor here, it's so poor here, it's so poor here. Well, if it's so poor here and the people here don't have enough money, then how do you get more money into the ecosystem? Yeah. You draw it in from maybe people that don't live
the
here.
economy. Well, maybe, and it's not even that expensive. I mean, we still have, even if housing's gone up, it's still cheaper. Go look anywhere else. Everywhere 100%. It's gone up. Like, I mean, it's
still
so
cheaper
cheap
here today than it was 3 years ago in Columbus when I left.
Yeah, no,
you can still get more house here than you could get.
And they're nice,
and that's before
old built houses, man.
Yeah, they're brick. Like most of them are brick and nice. I'm with you, man.
They're not these like little pop-up houses that are everywhere. Like they built all in Wake County.
All the walls show up and they're already ready to go. They're like, it's not a prefab. Yeah, but the walls are already done. I mean, you're just like, it's like Legos, you're just bolting them together. It's worse than Legos. It's like connects.
Yeah. I don't know how many walls you can look down that are just like waves. And oh gosh. But
yeah, you got good bones in houses. You got large yards for the most part. I mean, in general, even like, I mean, it's 2 different Kinstons. Not really. I mean, there's a lot of nice places on the east side of Kinston.
No, for sure.
We drive over there all the time. It's a lot of really nice places.
Over there near Granger Hill. I mean, that's the thing. You can tell how much
solid.
money there used to be here. Like, I mean,
Dude,
obviously, like,
ridiculous.
Like just the tobacco, like in the textile industry was just kicking in like early 20th century. Like, these buildings just downtown, like just seeing the architecture and like how much is went into those buildings to
Look
make
at
them.
the freaking O'Neill, and I know they redid it, but
but that's
what did
the
that
bones
cost
of it,
to
man.
make? Yeah. When did that building go up? Do you know, like 1901?
Yeah, I think it was definitely early 20th century. I don't know the exact year. Yeah,
I'm sure we'll have some historians chime in and tell us all about the history of the building. I'm sure we can find out. Maybe I'll check that out. But
there's a lot,
that
man.
Building is sweet,
or like Granger Hill High School, like the old. Dude, that place is crazy.
I like what they did with that, with the apartments on the side.
Yeah, makes sense, man. And there's a lot of things like that.
Gym.
Yeah, the gym's cool. Like, that's a good spot. I don't know how much. I mean, I know for a while there, I haven't been over there in a long time, but it was always a busy place. A lot of people over there.
Yeah. Was it Mock Gymnasium, I think is what it's called? Right there by the stadium. Yeah.
We used to go.
I'm very bullish on the blocks that are basically from what would you call it? East of Queen, north of Vernon, right there along Granger Stadium.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you're an investor, buy those up and freaking flip them because you can provide. You could have some nice. A lot of them are in pretty good shape still.
Yeah.
They weren't the cheapest, crappiest houses ever built because they were building them on expensive real estate at the time, right under Granger.
That was the place.
So you've got good bones there, and it's only like 3 streets. Like 3 or 4 moderate investors could probably flip that area, get it to critical mass very quickly.
That's what we need. One thing we really need, and a big thing. Another going back to. Why we don't have people moving here. It's like, if you take a new job and you're working for Spirit or whoever, there's very little, unless you want to really commit and buy a house, like we have no rental house market for just average people. That's not Section 8. Like it's all, when I moved back, man, it was really hard, very, very hard to find a place to live. And it's like, I wasn't, quite ready to buy a house and like just kind of figuring out, what I was doing, and I looked, and you had to like know somebody to get a house.
Yeah, like who rents houses?
Yeah.
Foster.
Yeah.
Make sure you block that out and let him pay us for that. It should be $100 because he's gonna rent a place off of that right there.
There you go.
But no, like I did the same thing. We were trying to move here and we couldn't freaking find a place to rent. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to buy our house in Ohio. We wanted to, but our house was like, we were waiting on it to sell. It was a pain in the ass, like one of those things. And dude, it's like impossible to find a place to rent. And we had like people asking around for us while like, hey, we've got this guy coming in, like need a family, a little spot for him. That's what HR and Fly Exclusive is all about. Like
Just trying to get people.
Yeah, Jennifer's like running that, and she's like constantly like, people are like, hey, I might have some investment, or I might have some properties popping up, and she's like, send me all the information.
Yeah,
It's like, I think she could fill probably 10 or 20 rental houses right now. For me, what the problem is this is a perspective that I don't think a lot of people knows. So if you're being offered a job and it's so good that you're going to move your family, well, now you got to convince your wife and the kids that this is a worthwhile job, or your husband and the kids that this is a worthwhile job. I'll be politically correct. You got to figure that out, and it's really, you're already Google. So the first thing you do is like you Google the town. We know how that goes.
Yeah.
Well, now you're trying to sell something tough, and then you're taking someone that probably had an affluent, like lived in an affluent neighborhood where they're at, if they're taking a job to move to an area because they're that good at what they do, or like they have that kind of a draw on their resume. And then you show them the places that are available to rent. It's like, my wife was like, hell no, we're not going there. We had just built a house in Columbus. We picked out everything we had in the whole house, picked the cabinets, picked the colors, picked the floor, all the shit. And then it's like, we rented a house on like seven cell phone pictures. And it was just because it was like, oh my God, just give it to us, please. We've got a dog and we're fucked. And it was like, Jesus. But like, that's what my dad's in the rental game in Columbus. That's what he does now. He did insurance, and then he flipped out of that and just did real estate. He just got lucky, did it at a really good time.
Yeah.
And but yeah, like just going into a place and painting it. I know some people, this will scare them. Eliminate brass and eliminate colors and just paint everything freaking gray.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you might hate it.
Yeah.
But the people that are moving here for jobs come from other cities, that everything in their city that they live in is a neutral color
it's not
palette.
A Southern Living magazine house.
No one,
with,
no one's moving down here for the 7 wallpapers. And you're like, well, Grandma Alice loved that bathroom.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit.
Yeah, no.
And the ornate things are cool, but like yellow and gold, get rid of it. The
just
folks generally just want. They'll bring the color that they like.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, dude, you could put lipstick on a pig if you just painted, like, you just bought a house for like 85 to 110,000 and painted it all neutral gray.
Yeah,
and just clean up because it's just ready.
It is, there it is.
You build it and they will come.
Exactly, man. I think there's definitely a need for it, and I see a lot of these locals. They do own properties, like, and I get the Section 8 stuff is an automatic paycheck, but the houses, we need housing, and we definitely can. This should be the time to push. Like, let's get out some of our old ways, and let's make this town. You're not going to change Kinston to kick you out. It's not going to ruin your hometown. No. It's going to build on it. Like, maybe you like some of these restaurants and things that are chain stores that won't move here because we don't have quite enough people or whatever. Yeah. Like,
you got to hit the demographic.
Yeah, I would love to have a Moe's, man. I love Moe's, like, and we can't have one. Like, I have to go out of town. Like, let's just work on building this town up, make it, where somebody wants to move here, and we've already got the business. So, like, I mean, it's going to just continue to get a little bit bigger. I think there's that. They building washing machines out there at the airport or something, or there's another company coming.
Yeah, something. Yeah, you're talking about. Yep.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and then it just there's the opportunity for your locals, like if you want to have a store, like, and you do get a bigger demographic, you can have your store, you can have your bike shop like Bert has, and be able to be successful with it, or you could have your sports store. I mean, the internet's killing a lot of these little mom and pop shops, but there's still a need for it, and have a really strong downtown. You can have some of these more niche places, like, that are supported, so I think we really need as a community to kind of get rid of this negative mindset. And it really bothers me. I wake up every day and I read some of these.
Tied up.
Am I messed up?
You're just on it a little. There you go.
Oh, there you go. I just read these comments. I shouldn't read comments on the internet, man. They make me mad. Like,
I live for them sometimes.
Yeah, I see. I read your comments, dude.
I just can't help myself. My dad gets all mad at me all the time. He told me again today. He's like, just shut up and quit. I was like, I just can't. Some
people need to poke the fire and stuff. And I mean,
I just feel like, we're all filling like a position on the team of like ways of kicking the ball forward, and like, I just think my position is just kind of like to kind of sometimes be a little prickly.
Well, maybe it makes the critical thinking, like other people see. There's a lot of silent people that read these things. There's always your negative people. Like, I know Travis's post about the vandalism got some negative comments from some person and talking about how he's, you know, ruining downtown with his stuff. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Travis is like, he's such a, I love Travis's spirit, man. He's always out there like just hustling and doing, and he just like, and I think some of this is his skateboarder mentality. Like he's just like, he's got a good feeling about something and just sends it. It's like jumping some stairs or like grinding a rail. Like he's like, I'm going to do this. Like if I crash or whatever, like I'm going to pick it up. And I love it, man. And he's got such a vision, and so do you, like of just all this stuff y'all are doing down here. And then you got haters. They're like, oh, he's going in and do it. Like, dude, what do you know? It's not bothering you at all. Like it's enhancing your experience in this town.
Yeah, or just stay in Greenville and don't come over. We're chilling.
Yeah, go.
My favorite are the people, like they said, man, the people that are like, well, I went to North Lenore, but I live in Greenville now, and I'm going to talk shit about everything. You're a fucking loser.
Shut up, there's
bro.
A lot of
like, it makes you look like a fool. And then you're like, but I work for Mr. Beast. That doesn't mean that you get to be a cocksucker for the rest of your life. You don't get to just be like, well, you know, I was on an episode with Mr. Beast. That's great, but like you don't have to be a jerk about it. Like, just stay over there then and rock out. But like, man, don't be a dick. You don't need to come over and knock over the sandcastles. It doesn't make, for sure. It doesn't make yours any taller.
It doesn't. Anybody that's doing something's not is a. You know, I'm very much like I like to build people up and stuff. If I see somebody doing something cool, like I like to build. It's just like, you know, I'm not jealous of them. Like I'm excited for them, and it's just like. This is a skill maybe I learned around BMX, man. It's like you watch somebody learn a trick and they pull it, and it's like, are you gonna be like, you know, that's not cool. Like I wish I could do that. No, I'm gonna be like, dude, like you know,
did them hitting that trick and being happy about it steal joy out of your pot of potential joy? I don't. If it did, you need to really reevaluate your life.
Deep-rooted issues, man, and that's how everything should be when it comes down to business and people doing stuff that you know, maybe you don't agree with it. Maybe it's a business that it doesn't matter. You don't have to support it. Like, you know, like it doesn't matter.
You can vote with your dollar every day.
Exactly. Yep. You know, so.
Yeah. That's what I like too, man. It's just like all sorts of random things. You get like the naysayers and this and that, and it's like, okay. And then when you look at the actual, like look at the numbers. That's why I go back to all the time. Look at the numbers, look at the facts. The numbers don't lie. You can bend numbers, but general numbers are numbers.
Yeah.
And it's like, go look at the talk from people about who does what and who really cares and this and that, and then like look at what those people actually do. What do they do with their money? Exactly. Where do they eat? Where do they sleep? Where do they buy things? Where do they take their money? I mean, I'll drive a little bit out of the way somewhere to get gas just because it's like not a chain, but it's still in Kinston city limits and the tax. Like I'm just weird like that.
Well, you know, there's something to say. Like, you know, I'm really big in the motorcycle world. I've had my own shop. I work in the motorcycle industry. Mm-hmm. My buddy Holland out here has his shop, and he is you know what, like whenever I have an issue, and this is something people forget about, like when they buy from Amazon and all this stuff, whenever I have an issue or a part that I need, like that day, he normally has it, and I call him or whatever, and he hooks it up. And it's like you don't get that. You have the experience, and like that's the thing, like you support local businesses like that. And, man, it's like it's just something you don't get with the internet, and there's so many aspects like that. You got the restaurants, even the guy, you know, you go to a restaurant and it's like they know your name or they know your order. Like, how awesome is that?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Like, and you can support it or not or whatever, and you can hate whatever, but so I don't know, man. I think this town has some really good people, but it's just like anywhere else. It's just a very small minority of people that are just like talking crap.
Yeah, well, negativity is louder than positivity, and that's the big problem. And that's just a societal thing. Is like it's more fun to watch a plane or a train crash than it is to watch a train just go down the tracks. And you know, there's some enthusiasts that would disagree, but like in general, that's why the news gets good ratings, because they talk about bad shit all the time.
Yeah, they're not going to talk about the good stuff.
Yeah, they're not like, hey, this traffic light right here, it worked flawless all day today. There wasn't a single accident. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh my God, look, the power went out.
You know what a good example of that is, and I'm not trying to call them out, but the news network that was which was cool that they were there. There was only one news network yesterday when we were there to meet about the crime and all that stuff, the vandalism. Well, you go to their page, and they made a nice little story with the videos and all that stuff of that. Well, it's on the page. Well, there was also the shooting this weekend, and there was a gunfire on whatever that went off, some gunshots that went off.
Yep.
And you go to Facebook, and that's all you see from Kinston. They don't have anything about the community leadership they met out there to try to combat this stuff. It's just like, man shot. So, you know, and it's like, dude.
Well, everyone clicks on it.
Yeah, and everybody clicks on it. Nobody cares that, like, anybody's trying to do anything about it, you know. So it's just it's unfortunate.
Yep. I think that's what's been cool, and that's what gets, when you start flipping the narrative. That's what we've kind of been doing a little bit down here, like posting positive things about a town where usually all you ever see is the white noise of negativity. Mm-hmm. So it over indexes a little bit in this area, which is cool. And then, when I got here, I was doing a bunch of it too, and people were like, "Oh, some people hated, like hate on you for posting that you had all this cool stuff going on." And it's like, I'm just, what are you doing it for all that? Oh, you're just a clout chasing. Like, no, it's just where I come from. You just post, it's just your life. You're just posting that you're going places. You're not bragging that you went there. You're just posting and sharing along the way because it's cool. And it's more or less, to be honest, I do it for myself because I forget because I do so much cool shit.
Memories,
I'm like,
man.
yeah, exactly. Memories are awesome. Like,
exactly. Like,
don't take it personal. I'm just sharing about a good time. The amount of posts that, like, I don't do it a lot, but like sometimes I just post things that only I can see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
you get that memory and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. That was a really good day, but I didn't want to post about it publicly because I didn't want 9 people to be dicks about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well,
that's sometimes I do because I want them to.
That's the hard thing about social media too. It's hard to know, like when you have somebody be negative, like, just as a person, like when you're like, well, somebody's negative to you, like, and it's like, well, maybe I have a problem. Like maybe I am doing it. And it's like, no, it's just, that's just how, like, that's the weird thing about social media is people are saying stuff. And, in normal life too, somebody may have like a thought to themselves. And they're like, I don't like that guy. Like, whatever. He's always happy.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but that's what they think. And then, like, when it comes to social media, they have the outlet to just say it and, like, no repercussions for it. And some people just like to watch the world burn and, like, talk crap. And, like,
for sure.
That's just, like, what they do. Sociopaths or whatever they are, they don't feel bad about whatever they say. And that's what's hard because it does start to affect what you're doing that's positive. Like, dude, I'm building this business here. Like, I moved here from another city. And I'm doing this, and this is cool. And they're like, oh, this dude's just like whatever. And it's like, I hate that, like with me, it's like, oh, this guy won't shut up about a skate park.
Yeah,
like,
all he cares about is these fucking bikes.
Yeah, like these bikes, man. How old is this guy?
Enough with the bike ramps, bro. Your time's over.
They're never going to happen. They're like, oh, like who's going to pay for it? Oh, the city's going to pay for a recreational thing? Oh, that's impossible. That should never happen. And I'm like, dude, like, I feel like that's one of the city's biggest things is like, make sure the streets are decent. Make sure there's a police and fire department and EMS, and make sure there's a rec department and get the trash off the streets. Like that's it. Like so, recreational things. As right wing or left wing, whatever that you are, like and I'm a pretty big supporter of a small government and all this stuff, and like I hate paying taxes, but I pay my taxes. Yeah. But when I do pay my taxes, I love when it goes to something like like funding recreational things or the streets, and like we lack a lot of this stuff, so. Yeah,
there's money there, and if not, there's money to be found. Yeah, there's money to be found.
You can raise money. It's not a big deal.
I mean, the episode that'll go out here in a little bit tonight or maybe tomorrow is like, it'd been 2 days ago for you watching live, but we talked with Jock Passaleg about stuff, and he had found out that like a blinking left, like a left arrow that blinks yellow.
Yeah,
it costs about $6,000 to $8,000 a year per light to maintain.
Just really,
and it's like how many? There's like 5 or 6 of them on Vernon. And it's like if you just had 2 green lights, it would mean still that you can hang a left with caution.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like people know
you could put a 6x8 fucking metal sign up that says left hand turn. Yield to oncoming traffic during green light. They have them everywhere.
Yeah.
Instead, I mean, I think he said there's 6 of them or so, 6 to 8,000. We're talking like $40,000-$50,000 a year just on Vernon to have blinking yellow turn signals that mean nothing.
Insane, man.
It's like, well, where else are those little things? If that's just that, where else is there a traffic light anywhere in town that we could decommission and turn into a 4-way stop? Yeah, how much does that save a year? My point is, we say that we need more. We either need a deeper budget or more revenue to pay our city employees or the police department better.
Yeah, we do because they're like
very
12 men down at the police department,
and they need people, right?
Yeah.
My point is, if you can take 6 blinking yellows off and come up with $45,000, there's a salary.
That's one salary. Yeah.
If you can take 2 traffic lights that maybe are $20,000 a year to run a traffic light on McElwain that literally does nothing.
There's very little
because it's literally at like a post office and a church, and the other 2 corners have nothing.
Yeah.
Why is there a light there? Take that. I get stopped at these all the time because I'm doing the damn scooters. I can tell you where all the lights that need to be removed. But my point is, we don't, and then equally, there are no lit pedestrian crossings. There's one at McElwain and Vernon where you can push a button and wait, and it'll tell you when it's safe to cross the street. We have pedestrians getting hit all day.
Yeah.
We have that one,
yeah.
and then I think King and Queen at the courthouse.
Yeah.
I think, to my knowledge, those are the only 2 crossings in the whole city that actually have pedestrian crosswalks where you hit a button and it tells you when to go. We don't even have them right here.
Yeah,
we don't even have them on Queen where the city or the state put in all that stuff. They didn't. Why not? You just put in all that power and all that stuff.
I mean, it's there.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, there's money out there. Quit having... We don't need all of the traffic lights. If we needed all these traffic lights when there were 30,000 people, why do we still need them all for 20,000? We don't. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I'd love to check the stats of how many households in 1972 did not have a vehicle. Because currently it's 20%, give or take 3%.
Wow.
So it's plus or minus 3% at 20. So that means 1 out of every 5 households in the city of Kinston does not have a motor vehicle.
That's wild. Yeah.
Not people.
Yeah.
Households. And I can
crazy.
tell you there's a large percentage of the city where every single household in that particular part of the city has a car.
Oh, yeah,
Which means what is the actual ratio in the other part of town where...
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine you live at home with it's you and your siblings and your mom and like maybe a grandma.
Yeah.
And none of you have and you're all walking somewhere. Yeah. That's crazy.
That is crazy. It's sad.
And if that's a situation, you don't have internet.
Oh, yeah.
So now what's the disparity of opportunity, of education? Sure. I mean, what we talk about all the time, YouTube University. Yeah. Hard to get on YouTube and learn random shit if you don't have the freaking internet at your house.
That is one good
and you don't have a car.
Yeah. That's one good thing about our library. We have a great
and the rec. And again, the rec, the Parks and Rec, having the stuff set up. And they have it like, there's something different from where I come from, like suburbs of Columbus. Not a lot of rec centers, not a lot of community centers. Yeah. I mean, there are in the city of Columbus, but not out in the suburbs. I mean, you have like nice parks and stuff, but in general, the school or your, travel, rec team, whatever is doing this stuff. But we do have a ton, like the way that you have like, there's like, you got Holloway out there. I mean, they're spread all over the place. They're everywhere. That is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm with you on all the empty school buildings. There's a lot of those, and there's
we've got a
gymnasiums.
Few, like Bynum, man. I went to Bynum School over there near Rochelle. That's where I went to 4th and 5th grade, and that school's just chilling.
Why is that? That's a question. Like, that has a really nice gymnasium.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, the windows
they basically combined some schools. I think they made one Northeast or whatever they call it now off 11, maybe. I may be mistaken on that, but they combined them and made a nice new school, which Bynum was old and pretty sure we had a bomb threat there like every day. Like when I was in like 5th grade, it was pretty funny.
For sure. Yeah, why not? It was about the right time.
We had a great time. Like it's funny because you're thinking about like bomb threats. You're like, oh yeah, bomb threat. Like we go outside and like chill. Like,
well, if you think about it, if you're the person doing the bomb threat, you would just put it in a car right outside the front door because everybody walks right by. That's really dark. Don't cut that.
It is.
But it's like, did you think about that? Because they did that same shit to us. They're like, oh, we had a threat.
Yeah.
And they walk us right past the parking lot. It's like, you mean the easiest place to put a bomb?
But that's what that happened at Kinston High.
Didn't even have to go inside.
We were joking about that when I went to Kinston High. And like we had a little stint there where we were getting them every day for like a week. And then like we were going to you'd pull up to the parking lot and they're like, can't leave. You got to go to the football stadium. It's like, dude, what if they put it in the stadium?
Yeah, what if the bomb's at the evacuation site, like, you dumb fucks? Yeah, God.
And now we're all stuck here. Why don't you just tell us to sit in our cars? Like,
yeah, check in and head over to the bomb site, please. Sure. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Things
hilarious. Might get in trouble for that.
I know, yeah, we might, whatever.
Yeah. That's all right. Leave that in. Yeah, we'll grade that up.
I don't care. Nobody liked me there anyways when I went to school.
Yeah. Yeah, the bomb threats were after. They were all aimed towards you anyway. It's fine. Nobody watches this show anyway. That's what I keep telling everybody. It's been on.
I don't know, man.
My stepmom the other day, my dad was, I can't remember what it was. So we were up there hanging out, my dad, my aunt and uncle. And first time I've like been with them all since I moved down here.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was cool. And my stepmom was telling the story about how my dad's such an asshole because he always makes fun of her for forgetting shit.
Yeah.
He's like, we walked in the other day and then we said that. He goes, well, we did it together. Like we put this, they finished their house. They're putting a mantle up. So they were like, I don't know how big should we get it? Yeah. It's about this. So we grabbed some blue tape and measured it out. And while they're together, they put the tape up. Like 3 days go by.
Yeah.
He's sitting in there and she comes walking in and she goes, Rack. And he's like, what, Karen? And she's like, she goes,
I guess I just don't understand. Why is there blue tape on the above the fireplace? I guess I just don't get it. He's like, well, like, what do you mean you don't get it? Like, are you fucking with me? He's like, we did it the other day. Remember the mantle, you want it to be 56 by 6, so we put the tape up. That's where it'll be. Oh, well, I guess I just don't remember. So she was bitching at him for making fun of her for not remembering shit. And I walked by and I said, well, hopefully you won't remember this either. Because he started writing again. It's really funny. It was a good time. Man. That was a really funny thing, man. There for a while, he was like, his wife's name's literally is Karen, and she's hilarious, right? But he's not on Facebook. He doesn't do fake book. He doesn't do any of that shit. And so he's like, well, he doesn't know this whole like world phenomena thing where like kind of cranky women is a Karen, like is a name, right? Like, and so he's calling, and he just wants to vent for a minute, and he'll be like da 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 da, and he'll be like, Karen this, she's, and it's never like, it's never really a big thing, but it was just like such a funny ass thing to be sitting there and hearing him say it. And like it was no clue that he'd be like, well, that's Karen. And he never got it. And it's just like, it was one of those really, really funny things. Like years went by, and then he eventually was like, the other day someone told me this funny joke, the Karen is a name for, like a cranky old white lady. And I was like, do you see why I used to just like, you were telling me the story and it was funny, but then there was like a whole another, and you were like, man, it was a funny joke, but I don't know why you're laughing so hard. I was like, yeah, that's why. It was on a whole another level, Dad. You were killing it.
Exactly. What is it? So what is, I've been told Kevin is in the runnings for the guy Karen. I don't like that at all.
That's where he's exactly where I was going. So you're a Kevin. And
I've heard of Dave. I've seen Dave too. And then you've got the Kyles who are like the Monster Energy, like kind of like guys.
Yeah. See, I was going to be a Kyle, but my grandmother couldn't say it. She always said Kai. Kai. She couldn't say it. And they were like, all right, we'll call him Zach. And I was like, and then like later I heard that I was like 8. And this dweeby kid in elementary school, his name was Kyle. And I remember hearing that story. Yeah. And next time I saw it, I was like, Grandma, I'm so glad you couldn't. I was like,
couldn't say it.
First thing I said, like, I wrote it down. I said, how do you say this? And she started butchering it. She didn't want to say it. Like, she knew where I was going. And I like coyly smiled. I was like 7 or 8. And I coyly smiled. I was like, it's all good. Like, I didn't give her a fist bump because it was way too early in time. But like, I think it was probably like an old school high five. Yeah, and I was like, thank you for sucking at saying that word, because I hate Kyle at school. He's a dick.
Yeah.
And like,
it is funny.
But I think Kevin is.
I know.
How do you like? You don't like it? Not a big.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I don't think you are a Kevin though. Like you're.
So I don't really know that many other Kevins anyway. So like I don't know like our Kevins. Like I mean I'm not like I'm like the opposite of that. Like if I get some food at a restaurant and it sucks, I'm just like, oh, that sucks. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna like.
Is what it is.
I'm gonna give them a tip and like still do my thing.
Yeah, like it might be 18% instead of 20, but you're still.
No, I'm still. They get it all. They get it all every
on
time.
The food. Yeah, it's whatever. It's If the beer was empty for more than 7 minutes, then it's like maybe 1%. But yeah, I'm with you too. Like I did food service industry too, man. And the worst part was when people would be like, they'd hand you the book, like you hand them the check and they sign it, and then they like hang around. You're like, what the hell does this guy want? You don't want to go back. You're like, I already closed them out.
Yeah.
And the guy like keeps looking at you, and you're like, like I already cashed you out, dude. Like you signed it, I already saw it. If I do anything else from here on out, I'm not going to get paid. And right now, you're stopping me from getting my next table.
Yeah.
You'd have those people, and they'd finally come over, and you'd stop and be like, oh yeah, do you need a box? Must be something. Did you change your mind on dessert? One more drink? And they'd always be like, no. They'd hand you the book with the credit card receipt, and they'd be like, I just wanted to tell you one last time, you were really good, sir. You did a really great job. And then you go open it, and it's like they gave you like 12% instead of 10. You're like, fucking dick, man. Like, dude just screwed me. Like, after tip Adam, I got 8%. Yeah. We used to always say this thing up there. The electric company was AEP, American Electric Power. And we used to always say, that's really nice. I appreciate the kind words and all that. But, like, I don't get to call AEP on the 15th and be like, man, I just want to tell you guys knocked it out of the park this month. The power we didn't even have a brownout, bro. Y'all killed it.
It was good.
And then just shoot them like half the bill. But you told them they did a great job.
Dude,
it's like the thank yous don't pay my bills.
It does not, man. That's a tricky thing.
The electric company doesn't take thank yous.
That's what it's funny because like my job right now, like I work for a company. We make aftermarket parts for Harley, and I go to all these different shows like Sturgis and Daytona and all this stuff. And we do like we have a deal where we do free installs like through like one of our dealers. So we'll go out there and set up and install. And people love to use it as an excuse to bring their bike to get looked at, and they're like, oh, we have
this actually have an issue, you know, like have a problem on this bike, and it's like something lighting related or whatever, like something, whatever we're doing. Mm-hmm. So we end up fixing our bike for free, you know, out there. And it's like, we do all this stuff, and then they're like, thank you, man, appreciate it, and just roll out. And then like, you have the opposite where this dude's just like literally coming in there for like one thing. It takes 5 minutes and he'll like throw you a $20 bill. And
like, thanks, dude, appreciate you.
It's just so opposite, man. Like you never know how people are gonna react and like what they're gonna do. But I would never do that. That seems like a very to the textbook Kevin thing to do. But
I love it. My daughter's 9, and we were at a baseball game. One of many baseball games at Granger this year. Cause we go to all of them. We love the Wood Ducks. Well, and heckling. And so we were heckling this team real hard. And this third baseman's name was Scotty. And he had just gotten signed. Like, he just got drafted, got signed. They'd move him up here to low A, and he's playing for the opposing team. He's playing third base.
Yeah.
And we sit right there and we're yelling at him the whole game. Scotty, hey Scotty, Scotty doesn't know. You know, just any little thing. We look up their name, like their and all this stuff. And we were sitting there and we were giving Scotty shit. It's like the 5th or the 6th inning, and we're just getting him. We're like, come on, baby, give me that E5, baby, give me that error. Come on, give me the hot shot coming to you, Scotty. Don't go too close. It's going over your head. Like, just get them all. And all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and this lady comes over. She's like 48 to 56 years old. Yeah. She's got a little bob cut. Oh, a little dark. Got some highlights. Yeah. She comes over and she goes, hey, you. And I was like, I spun around and I'm like, I said, huh? She goes, how do you know Scotty? I said, what? And she goes, how do you know Scotty? I said, well, Scotty right here? And she goes, yeah. So I primarily know Scotty as a really shitty third baseman. And she goes, well, you've got a lot of nerve sitting over here in the stands. I said, yeah. Oh, trust me, I know. I couldn't go do it. I'm just saying I pay to come sit here because I like to yell at 19 to 21-year-olds and try to get them off their game. I said, you saw that E5 we got. Like, we got an error out of him. She goes, well, I just wanted to know how you knew him because you were over here talking to him like you knew him. And I was like, it's because I do. He puts his personal life on Instagram, and then I look it up, and then I talk to him about it for 9 innings. And she started getting into it, and then she started to say something. My wife is usually, she doesn't even do the Facebook arguments. Yeah, that's my game. I like those. I prefer that. I
don't know if you could have two in one household. I feel like that'd be hard to like.
Yeah, we'd like do Facebook fights with each other. She might like that too. But so like we're sitting there, and this lady starts to get to rail into me, and my wife stands up. She's like 5'2", 5'3" and stuff. She stands up and she gets all in this lady's face, and she's like, no, she's like, you're not gonna come over here around my kids and call my. She's like, you can just step off. You know? So lady goes back and sits down. She sits there for another whatever, and she ends up leaving. And my 9-year-old is like, oh my God. She goes, you know, she talks all this like current lingo because she's a Fortnite player. She goes, oh snap, was that a Karen? And we were like, my mom goes, or Steph, her mom is like, she goes, you know, she's all worked up. She's like, I don't know what her name was, you know, and Lola goes, no, Mom, was that a Karen? Oh my God. And she goes, yeah, that was a Karen. She was being a real something, you know, and my 9-year-old was like, oh my God, I just experienced my first Karen. Like, she was so excited about it. She was running around telling people.
I read about this.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah. She's like, I heard all about these. I'd never experienced one firsthand. I was like, wow, you know, making memories in my children's minds. You know,
dude, that's awesome.
3 beers deep, yelling at strangers at a baseball game, and my kid will remember that for the rest of her life.
Dude, that's amazing.
She'll be like 59. She'll be like, my dad at this baseball game. He was all Karen. Drunk at this game, talking all this shit, and this lady came over, and then they cursed each other out. Yeah, it was funny.
We used to get a lot of Karens loved to kick us out of spots that we were riding BMX. You know, like they'd see us over there, and like, you know, some of my like I don't know if you know Robert Curtis, but he was the best one to have on your team. Like, we're like 13 years old, 14 years old, and like we may have been riding in the mall or wherever, and like, yeah, we weren't supposed to be doing it. Like, where we'd mess anything up, not really, no. Like, we were probably in the way, you know. Lady would come over and like yell, and dude, like, we're like, do you even work here? Like, who are you? And like, Robert was the best one to have on your team because he would just destroy them. Like, and it's like, with me, I was like, I'll just leave, you know, like, whatever, it doesn't bother me.
I can go.
Yeah. Not Robert, man. I loved it. I loved having on my team. He'd say stuff I wish I had, you know, the balls to say when I was 13 years old. Like, yeah. He's still that guy. Everybody has had experience with him. I hope he sees this.
Yeah, we'll tag him. We'll make it short so you can shoot it to him. That's hilarious. Well, man, you got anything else? You got, I mean, we do this fun thing called shameless self-promotion. I mean, we've kind of done that a little bit, but if you have anything else that we haven't mentioned that you just want to shamelessly plug, this is your time.
The plug is the skate park, man. If you want to be a part of it, you know, like we need a group, you know, like I don't need to promote myself, you know, but I do want to promote this park and this town. And maybe if you have some, anybody has leads on a building or like maybe some insurance people or whatever, like, we have a list, you know, I may put it out there on Facebook of like some things we may need some advice on. You know, there's a lot of good people in this town that can definitely maybe point us in the right direction. But
for sure.
Yeah, if you just keep an eye on it. We actually have a page I'm going to start posting on again. It's Kinston BMX and Skate Park, something like that. Maybe we can post it up with this. Yep. But, you know, we just need some help getting this thing done. I think everybody would be pleasantly surprised what comes from this, you know. So maybe it can be a little boost. We already got a lot of stuff going on. So
for sure, never hurts to have other places to host events, especially events that are other than like, you know, weddings are great, but there's a lot of other events that people like going to and stuff like that. Man, those little niche markets, it's going cool. They got the Jeep Affair, and it pulls a niche of people, right?
A lot, man.
That's crazy. All these little niche events is where it's at. You can't keep. If your goal is to continue to host 1 to 5 events that you think appeal to 98% of the general public, and that's all you're doing, you're missing out on the niche events and the niche markets, and that's where social media really helps. Is it allows you to get in tune and in touch with all of these little small fan clubs and groups. Look at True Smoke. Yeah, True Smoke people are killing it because they're a niche. They're very specific. Yep. No bullshit, just meats.
Yep. We had crazy. I put on the Rally in the Alley out there twice this year, and that second one, man, we had people come from South Carolina. It's a motorcycle event, mostly Harley Davidson stuff, bike show, and the amount of people that came, we had hundreds of people that came to this one, and it's like, man, and that's all you got to do. Like, if you like something, like, just do it, man. Social media just makes it happen.
Takes care of it. Yep.
So it's like, you know, do something for your town. Like, if it's something stupid, like, it's not stupid. Like, if it's something that's only the few people, like, there's more people involved than you think that are like maybe like what you do. So it's like, just go out there, and if everybody did a little bit of stuff, man, like we would just be, you know, out of this world. Like, I mean, it's a special place because we do have a lot of these people that push it. So
yeah, look at friggin' pickleball at Fairfield.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Pickleball is like a Monday through Friday 9 to noon event at Fairfield.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Mary Margaret, Earl Keith, I'm coming for you guys. Still. I haven't forgot. I've been making myself better back here, been getting better.
Yeah.
And then I'm ready. And pickleball is the next level. I just don't want to do the knee damaging stuff.
Well, I get that. Yeah. You know, that's another thing though. You know, how many people were actually invested in pickleball other than the core group? You know, like a lot of people probably do it now because it's there. Yep. Like, so
something to try.
Yeah.
Flavors, taste things, man.
Exactly.
Giving your youth the opportunity to taste and try more things leads to more success. It's the same thing as career technical programs. They're just trying to take kids around, show them different things. And if one day, one field trip gets one kid to be like, I'm doing that, that's the goal. That's the success.
There's a lot of people that just sit around and do nothing. You know, if you're sitting around and do nothing, it normally equates to something negative. If you actually go out there and do things, it's positive in it.
Idle hands.
You know, exactly. So,
well, cool, man.
Right
thanks for coming on, dude. We nailed the
Appreciate
timing. That was awesome. I was able to roll back into town.
Yeah.
You guys were the buzz.
Yeah.
And boom, you're available to come out.
are.
Appreciate it.
We can do it again. Maybe we can get Nyquist out here next time.
Yeah. We'll do that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, cool. That was, we'll give you all the things to get a hold of Kevin, of course. And we'll tag the Facebook page. We'll put some, you shoot over your stuff. We'll put it down there too. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, reach out. Or if you are an insurance agent, or you're an attorney, or you're into real estate, or you have some investment money, or investors that have locations, or any of the above, or you just care a lot and you're like, that might be something I want to be a part of. This guy would love to have your help.
We're gonna do it. So even when we get it going, if you want to be somebody that helps us, when we're starting to build the ramps, just donate your time or your muscles. Donations
of time. That's the thing, man. Anybody can be a philanthropist. You don't have to have a bottomless bank account to be a philanthropist. If you have time, 100%. If you have effort, if you have skills, if you just have, hey, I was a part of something one time and this was something that happened, and you can just share that experience in a 17-minute phone call that might come up. You never know. You never know the value of things like that. So that's what we're trying to do here on the Kickin' It With podcast, man. We're trying to give a voice and a spot for all these cool-ass ideas. And if it's a cool idea you want to be a part of, get hip with it. If it's not, shut the hell up and let this guy do what he's supposed to do, and just stay out of the freaking way and find somewhere else to bitch and complain. Yeah. Other than that, Kicking It With episode 13. This was Kevin Albritton. I'm Zac Holcomb.
See ya.
It's my favorite Mustang.